Hey Gundam Maniacs, welcome to another episode of Gundam Explained. Today we're going to be doing kind of like a comparison between the two Rick Dias from Robot Spirits. I did a review recently of the Rick Dias for anime that came out from Zeta. They did a re-release also of Quattro, so I thought I'd use this video to compare it to the original version. Which is better? Which should you get? Yeah, let's dive in. Alright, we can start looking at the boxes. Do they matter? Kind of. I keep them. I use them in storage, well, to kind of store the stuff, the instructions. So the first release, 189, 2015. I mean, and it looks great. You know, my first thought is, does it really need a re-release? And I guess the most interesting thing is, since the first Bajeena line has come out, is how accurate it is possible to get these mobile suits. Anyway, looking everything on here, this looks great. I mean, yeah, the box is worn. This is 2015, and I did get it used. Here's the new one, a crisp, clean box. A little less plastic here. Maybe that's good for the environment, but just looks just as cool, right? You got different scenes you can use here, different shots. Yeah, you know, not too much there. I think the other little differences are kind of the side, kind of inverting the colors. Also, the Bandai logo going from red to blue. This is the Bajeena. Kind of think of the video I did before of the normal Rick Dias. Obviously, this is the Quattro version. Again, we're not going to go over the accessories of what makes these new, but we're going to compare it to the other. So let's look at the other real quick. This is the original version, which, yeah, first glance, it's like, it looks just as cool, which I think is really a neat thing about it. Yeah, the original version looks just as cool, and I have it set up with all the same accessories and everything, so it's very similar to the other one. All right, and side by side, well, the bazooka fell off the old one. It's doing that a lot. Maybe that's a knock against it. Not really a big deal, but check this out. So look at the reds and look how kind of different it is in a way. Like, I would even say that the red on the left for Bajeena does kind of give a more contrasty, you know, cartoon look. The one on the right, with it being more muted, I guess is sort of more realistic to, I guess, this being real. But other than that, it's interesting how much it really is very similar. But it's so cool for Bandai to actually go back in and do a Bajeena anyway, because I really love this Bajeena line that's coming out. I mean, it started with the original 0079, and while I was buying those 0079 Bajeena, there was also Zeta Robot Spirits that weren't Bajeena, and I was getting them anyway. So, you know, what is like a reason, or what are some changes? And like just some basic things, like if you look at the arms, like just something as little as like how the piping looks. Yeah, they both have piping, but they're like in different areas, different lengths. It's interesting to see these different interpretations, because I think it would be a cool challenge to then get a high grade Rick Dias and look at even more. Now, if you're interested in more comparisons of like artist interpretations of various mobile suits, check out my Robot Spirits first high grade video of the Gundam Aerial, because I kind of go through that same thing. And, you know, there were just some other basic things here, just like this is more of a sharp 90 nearly, while this has more of a 45 in terms of the shoulder. You don't really notice it, but it's there. I mean, yeah, even look at how big this little thrust block thing, there's probably a word for it, compared to this version here. But other than the looks, the other thing that I think is a great upgrade to something like this has to do with articulation. You know, just kind of look how this does this side to side here. This is a very thick arm here, and it doesn't give a lot of range or movement for when you're wanting to hold something. Although they were able to retain that look here, but just giving it a little more engineering. So I think it makes perfect sense for Bandai to revisit these in terms of giving them that Bajeena accuracy, which they could probably do nowadays, much more easier with the engineering they have, but also engineer in some really awesome articulation. All right, another interesting aspect that makes this a neat upgrade, other than the fact that the bazooka falls off easier on this one, happens to do with the little gimmick Quattro has in here. So, like we saw with, you know, my previous video, you can actually open this up. It's a little weird, but it's there and it's all built in. Like, and why I say that's a big deal is because on the original version, it's a swappable piece. That's just an extra piece to lose. And yeah, I'm always losing pieces, which is why I opt to keep stuff in the boxes instead of baggies. At first I was doing baggies and keeping them stored somewhere, and the same with the manuals. I would actually keep them stored somewhere else, but I decided it's probably better to keep everything together. Curious what you do in terms of like storage when it comes to accessories. There's so many ways to do it, and actually it also depends how many you have. I probably have too many of these, so I think it makes more sense that I do have them stored in the plastic in their boxes. And the reason I knew I was meant to do this video is because I do have a lot of storage boxes full of Robot Spirits boxes. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to go through each one to find my Rick Diaz box. The first one I opened, it was right there. I'm not joking. So same thing with the manual. I was like, well, let me start, combining for my older Robot Spirits, combining the manuals and boxes together, accessories and storage. And I have this binder full of instructions for Robot Spirits. And I decided to start from the back. The first page was the Rick Diaz manual. Yeah, who really cares? I don't know. It's just, that was like a moment for me and I had to share it. Yeah, because if we're looking between the manuals to kind of get an idea here with how it's, wanting you to do the headpiece, the transformation, or not even transformation. This is more of the transformation, which is really cool. The new version, they were able to do that, which is very awesome. Also, old versus new bazooka. It just interesting. They're very different colors, but not by much. And you would, I guess, if you were to release that as an action figure or model kit or whatever, I mean, black seems obvious, but it's cool that, I know we do get this anime color. It does have this, the old one does have a mechanism to close the I guess the connector piece, so you can have it like that. This doesn't do that, and I'm not too sure why. I guess it's not too big of a deal, but I guess this can actually give 1 point towards the original version for having more of a, I guess, a streamlined look, to where some things that are maybe more anime accurate are still in play here. Things to make this more of a streamlined machine. And also from the back, yeah, and again, I guess another big call out here is when we're seeing very dark or black colors, it's probably going to be the original version. With the new one, it's again going to be the more anime colors. But it's cool to see the piping here, how they're done in very different styles. How about this? This would be like maybe equivalent to like the real grade in a way, I guess, if it was trying to make it look more realistic. Not that it's more detailed, but the details would be more in line with a grounded mobile suit. All right, we have the, those guns on the back. They look very similar, and we have those little side binders slash battering rams, weapons, whatever they are. I like all the color that's in this. Again, the contrasty color to kind of give it that cartoon anime look. And this one, again, it's all, black. Other interesting things now that I'm here are these connector points here that can actually give some more gimmick or replayability to this. Whereas this one does it in the vents here. So we have the molded in detailed vents, but on this one, it has a hole to put some of the effect parts that it comes with. And that's the thing with this non-ver anime line. So this is going back to maybe giving a knock to the non-ver anime, is you can't really use effect parts. I think effect parts are maybe inherently like an anime thing, as they're trying to make them look anime, kind of give that anime edge. So yeah, nowhere can you plug that in on this, but there are many places on this, so you can use different Veranime parts. All right, and I thought it'd be interesting to look at the leg engineering and how far they've come. Let's see, looking under the skirt armor. So, they've got like a ball peg that seems to be on like a hinge type mechanism that's on another hinge that drops down, and it doesn't drop too much, but I guess it's, enough to give that extra movement you need. Along with that, let's see, we've got, multiple tiers of, it's really cool. Something we've talked about before, again, engineering for anime, where it's kind of double jointed and it helps hide the piping as it goes back, so you can get that really, really strong bend at the knee here. So that's really well done. If we look at the original version, it's not too different, just a little more bulky. It doesn't have that drop there. And let's see, when it comes to that bend articulation, let's see, bending back, it looks like it's a single, which is fine. And I think what's very interesting is that there is so much more that this can do, but it's almost, I guess you almost don't notice it unless you're really looking for it. Okay, so we've come that far. Who knows if you've even been buying robot spirits, right? Because I always feel like it's not as many people buy these as I would assume. And if you were to jump into the hobby, what's more interesting for you? Is it an anime accurate with tons of engineering going on, or is it something that is more streamlined where they have to, maybe shave off some of the anime edges to make it seem a little more practical and realistic? For instance, I do like how this is, black, a darker color, and also the hinge that's the connector piece folds in. And when it comes to detail, they are, kind of the same. Again, it's just certain parts to make it more anime accurate. And also, would you rather have a removable piece at the top of the head here, or would you rather have this little transforming feature? It seems obvious, but curious what you think. So anyway, that was my little quick comparison of the original release robot spirits of Quattro Bajeena's Rick Diaz and the new Ver anime, which I'm really glad they're doing this with the Zeta line. They're going back, giving it that anime accuracy. We get to use all those effect parts. Really glad that Bandai is doing it, because really it's been 10 years, but there's so many mobile suits that could be releasing that I think that's a really good track of 10 years going back to a line, redoing it. I can't wait for like a Thunderbolt Ver anime line, Unicorn Ver anime. I do know that I think they do have a Sinanju animation version, but I don't think they have a full Unicorn line. Anyway, let me know what you think, and also check the links in the description. There's Discord down there. It's a lot of fun. Other things you can partake in if you're interested. But also, thanks to the supporters for making this possible. Until next time, be cool.